compactly crusting a hill, and is cloven in all directions by an intricate confusion of cracks which stand for streets. Tall, slim minarets and beflagged temple spires rise out of it and give it picturesqueness, viewed from the river. The city is as busy as an ant-hill, and the hurly-burly of human life swarming along the web of narrow streets reminds one of the ants. The sacred cow swarms along, too, and goes whither she pleases, and takes toll of the grain shops, and is very much in the way, and is a good deal of a nuisance, since she must not be molested. Benares is older than history, older than tradition, older even than legend, and looks twice as old as all of them put together. From a Hindu statement quoted in Rev. Mr. Parker's compact and lucid Guide to Benares, I find that the site of the town was the beginning place of the creation. It was merely an upright lingam, at first, no larger than a stovepipe, and stood in the midst of a shoreless ocean. This was the work of the god Vishnu. Later he spread the lingam out till its surface was 10 miles across. Still it was not large enough for the business, therefore he presently built the globe around it. Benares is thus the center of the earth. This is considered an advantage. It has had a tumultuous history, both materially and spiritually. It started Brahmanically many ages ago. Then by and by Buddha came in recent times, 2,500 years ago, and after that it was Buddhist during many centuries, 12 perhaps, but the Brahmins got the upper hand again then, and have held it ever since. It is unspeakably sacred in Hindu eyes, and is as unsanitary as it is sacred, and smells like the rind of the dorian. It is the headquarters of the Brahmin faith, and 1/8 of the population are priests of that church. But it is not an overstock, for they have all India as a prey. All India flocks thither on pilgrimage, and pours its savings into the pockets of the priests in a generous stream which never fails. A priest with a good stand on the shore of the Ganges is much better off than the sweeper of the best crossing in London. A good stand is worth a world of money. The holy proprietor of it sits under his grand spectacular umbrella and blesses people all his life, and collects his commission, and grows fat and rich, and the stand passes from father to son, down and down and down through the ages, and remains a permanent and lucrative estate in the family. As Mr. Parker suggests, it can become a subject of dispute at one time or another, and then the matter will be settled, not by prayer and fasting and consultations with Vishnu, but by the intervention of a much more puissant power, an English court. In Bombay I was told by an American missionary that in India there are 640 Protestant missionaries at work. At first it seemed an immense force, but of course that was a thoughtless idea. One missionary to 500,000 natives! No, that is not a force, it is the reverse of it. 640 marching against an entrenched camp of 300,000,000, the odds are too great. A force of 640 in Benares alone would have its hands overfull with 8,000 Brahmin priests for adversary. Missionaries need to be well equipped with hope and confidence, and this equipment they seem to have always had in all parts of the world. Mr. Parker has it. It enables him to get a favorable outlook out of statistics which might add up differently with other mathematicians. For instance, during the past few years competent observers declare that the number of pilgrims to Benares has increased. And then he adds up this fact and gets this conclusion: but the revival, if so it may be called, has in it the marks of death. It is a spasmodic struggle before dissolution. In this world we have seen the Roman Catholic power dying upon these same terms for many centuries. Many a time we have gotten all ready for the funeral and found it postponed again on account of the weather or something. Taught by experience, we ought not to put on our things for this Brahminical one till we see the procession move. Apparently one of the most uncertain things in the world is the funeral of a religion. I should have been glad to acquire some sort of idea of Hindu theology, but the difficulties were too great, the matter was too intricate, Even the mere ABC of it is baffling. There is a trinity, Brahma, Shiva, and Vishnu, independent powers apparently, though one cannot feel quite sure of that, because in one of the temples there is an image where an attempt has been made to concentrate the three in one person. The three have other names, and plenty of them, and this makes confusion in one's mind. The three have wives, and the wives have several names, and this increases the confusion. There are children. The children have many names, and thus the confusion goes on and on. It is not worth while to try to get any grip upon the cloud of minor gods. There are too many of them. It is even a justifiable economy to leave Brahma, the chiefest god of all, out of your studies, for he seems to cut no great figure in India. The vast bulk of the national worship is lavished upon Shiva and Vishnu and their families. Shiva's symbol, the lingam with which Vishnu began the creation, is worshipped by everybody apparently. It is the commonest object in Benares. It is on view everywhere. It is garlanded with flowers, offerings are made to it, it suffers no neglect. Commonly it is an upright stone, shaped like a thimble, sometimes like an elongated thimble. This Priapus worship, then, is older than history. Mr. Parker says that the lingams in Benares outnumber the inhabitants. In Benares there are many Mohammedan mosques. There are Hindu temples without number. These quaintly shaped and elaborately sculptured little stone jugs crowd all the lanes. The Ganges itself and every individual drop of water in it are temples. Religion, then, is the business of Benares, just as gold production is the business of Johannesburg. Other industries count for nothing as compared with the vast and all-absorbing rush and drive and boom of the town's specialty. Benares is the sacredest of sacred cities. The moment you step across the sharply defined line which separates it from the rest of the globe, you stand upon ineffably and unspeakably holy ground. Mr. Parker says, "It is impossible to convey any adequate idea of the intense feelings of veneration and affection with which the pious Hindu regards holy Kashi (Benares), and then he gives you this vivid and moving picture. Let a Hindu regiment be marched through the district, and as soon as they cross the line and enter the limits of the holy place, they rend the air with cries of Kashi ji ki jai, jai! Holy Kashi, hail to thee, hail, hail, hail! The weary pilgrim, scarcely able to stand, with age and weakness, blinded by the dust and heat, and almost dead with fatigue, crawls out of the oven-like railway carriage, and as soon as his feet touch the ground he lifts up his withered hands and utters the same pious exclamation. Let a European in some distant city, in casual talk in the bazaar, mention the fact that he has lived at Benares, and at once voices will be raised to call down blessings on his head, for a dweller in Benares is of all men most blessed." It makes our own religious enthusiasm seem pale and cold. Inasmuch as the life of religion is in the heart, not the head, Mr. Parker's touching picture seems to promise a sort of indefinite postponement of that funeral. End of chapter 50.